The Lord taught the Goswami about devotional service, comparing it to a creeper, and advised him to protect the bhakti creeper most carefully against the mad elephant offense against the pure devotees. In addition, the creeper has to be protected from the desires of sense enjoyment, monastic liberation, and perfection of the Hatha Yoga system. They are detrimental on the path of devotional service. Perhaps you know it. The word creeper is an etymology that is, the choice of word here is something to of analytical meditation that can be spoken of with the mind. And the other part of the question here, certainly the second part of what is said of worldly desire, gain and loss and such, and violence and all of those things. The question being that what is detrimental on the path of devotional service may be monastic liberation and the perfection of the Hatha Yoga system, chasing sense enjoyment and desires, of course. Monistic liberation.
Not monastic.
Okay, monistic liberation. I don't know what monistic is. Monastic, this was quite very, and the other part was the question here on the Hatha Yoga system, particularly what about this is seen to be detrimental in the Bhakti Yoga path.
Okay.
As a creeper.
Addressing or relating to your the first part of your question, the creeper, in regard to the creeper of devotion. Okay, so it is understood it's more poetically said, because so even in realistically we can see some beautiful creepers which produces many tasty fruits. Okay, we find some great delicious fruits also come off some creepers, some kind of creepers, flowers and fruits. Besides the fruit trees, also some fruits also come from the creepers, and there are some creepers which produces a lot of fragrant flowers and fruits. And creepers means it's so soft, very delicate, looks delicate, soft, moving in elegant way, and it can move. Creeper can be moving in different directions without any limitations, so flexible. It is so flexible to be embracing and adjusting and grow itself. Okay, in such harmonious adjustment in different environment. So the ability creepers have got, straight cut tree doesn't have it. So therefore, because the nature of bhakti is so similar to the creeper, divine creepers that are so gentle, soft, okay, but at the same time so fruit producing, productive of delicious fruits. And many of the creepers also has got medicinal properties, herbs, great herbs. So it's more poetically described about the bhakti lata as creeper of devotion growing. So I am not going into more details explanation about the first portion of your question. Second part is something very serious. You know, when it is said there, Hatha Yoga, that is detrimental to life of devotion. it is said for that kind of yoga which is misused instead of properly used in life. Everything can be misapplied and properly applied. I repeat, everything, many things in our life can be properly applied, misapplied, properly used, misused. Both way applied, but properly applied and misapplied, it makes so much difference. Similarly, in the field of the performance, the yoga, in other words, in connection of the performance of the yoga, any kind of yoga, hotel yoga, when it is misapplied, the wrong mode and motive, only with self-enjoyment, only bodily pleasure or bodily improvement or some kind of mental improvement, some power, but it is more selfishly motivated, no devotion, then it becomes opposite. That mood becomes opposed to devotional mood, because the mood of loving devotion means it's mood of loving surrender, it's a loving dedication. Not exactly surrender in the first place, but devotion means it's loving dedication, spirit of loving dedication. That is the mode. Not like selfish, motive of selfish gain. I will have a stronger body, stronger mind. I will become powerful man as a hot yogi and control others, monopolize others. My aim is to have this selfish development, increase self-power, gaining more mystical power, yogic power, strength by body and mind, more selfishly motivated, not necessarily devotional. And when a person is occupied by such selfishly motivated spirit of yogic activities, not doing the yoga activities in connection with devotion, properly in tuned in the mode of devotion, but more in tune with the frequency of exploiting selfish development, then that is detrimental. In a short way, that is detrimental, what he means there. Also, like full of false pride, why should I be a loving servitor to God? Why should I be a loving servitor, devoted servitor to the Supreme Divine? I myself can become God, one with God. I can become God instead of serving God. So much false pride comes. These are all misapplication of the yoga may also come. That is detrimental to the life of devotion. Yes, that's what it is.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Well, that God cannot be spoken of as we speak the relative of all of the variation of things, but we can do our best to talk of things too, and to engage the frontal cortex of the brain and analytical meditation.
Yes.
And the inclusiveness of this too is such a wonderful thing.
See, we can definitely include some yogic activity as favorable to cultivation of life of devotion, devotional life, when we know how to properly apply, how to favorably apply, utilize all the yogic methods in favor of devotional life. Then the same yogic activities, yogic arts of living a life can also be so favorable to the cultivation of devotional life. When a devotee has got a good health, healthy body and healthy mind, I repeat, when a devotee has got a healthy body, healthy mind, healthy spirit, with the help of yogic activities, it can rather be favorable to life of devotion also. One has to know how to accept, how to invite and accept, absorb all the yogic activities in life in favor of devotional life instead of taking us away from devotional life. So One is favorable use, one is unfavorable use. Knife in the hand of a doctor. Knife in the hand of a doctor can save life, and knife in the hand of a gunda can do opposed to that, kill life.
Gunda is like a violent person.
Yeah, violent person. Both are knives.
Mm.
See, both are knives, and both are held in hand. But while the same knife is held, used by a doctor, surgeon, saves the life through surgery. Same knife held by the hand of violent person, a killer, kills the life. Same knife, same hand, but one is example of proper use, another extreme example of improper use, misuse. So many things depend in our life through. Many things are dependent. Many things depending in our life on proper use and misuse. So, what I was going to say, so yoga can also be favorable, not that, because you are reading that part of the commentary here, okay, translation, but in some other place if you read certain other portion where some yoga philosophy has been discussed in Srimad Bhagavatam, is discussed, it is things have been discussed there in a very favorable way, not as detrimental, very favorable to life of devotion, with its highest utility, highest positive utility. And many of the Krishna devotees, many of the devotees of beautiful, wonderful Lord Krishna, also found as yogis. For example, Nava-yogendras. There are 9 prominent yogis, also exalted devotees of Krishna. They are not ordinary yogis. Yogendra, foremost of yogis. We find 9 foremost, very advanced quality yogis called Nava-yogendra, who are also exalted devotees, devoted lovers of the supreme, beautiful divine, who is called by name, one of the beloved names called as Krishna. So, Shukadev Goswami, the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, writer of Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyasadev, Maharshi Krishna Daipayan Vyasadev, the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukadev Goswami, Nava-yogendra, they are all great yogis. At the same time, great devotees. Even Chatushana, 4 Kumaras in Shantarasa, also great yogis. Shanak Sanandan, Sanatan, Sanat Kumar, Chatushana. Okay. But they are devotee yogis. So, when yoga performance, yoga activities misused, used in a more low class way, very materially, selfishly motivated, selfishly motivated material ways, misused more, then it is detrimental. That's how it is detrimental to devotional life. But not when it is used in very high class, positive, divine ways. Or it can be favorable to life of devotion too.
Listening to you speak of yogis and devotees, yogi to be a devotional yogi. What arrives also is this acknowledgement of that yogi, to be a yogi is to be a devotee. To be a yogi, one cannot be a yogi without being a devotee. In the etymology sense, of course, one can be.
Yes, finally it is.
There's always relativity of, there's always an exception, except for the exception that there's an exception when we speak of such things.
True.
And that to be a yogi is union, and to be a devotee is that devotion to all.
The culmination the culmination of all the yogas is to be a devoted lover of the Supreme Divine. No yoga can be fulfilled without the nectarine taste of devoted love to the Supreme Divine. You know, Anandam, the culmination, the supreme, the highest fulfillment in our life. See, the highest fulfillment of everything, the highest fulfillment of our life is found in ecstatic love of God, blissful love of God. The whole culmination, full-fledged culmination of all the goal of the yoga, all the finest, high-class yoga activities found in the experience, nectarian experience of ecstatic love of God to the infinite. Ecstatic love of God. Infinitely, so nectarian, blissful love of God to its infinite taste. And the taste is characterized by nectar and nectar and nectar. It's a nectarian ecstasy, nectarian bliss, blissful nectarian experience, highest fulfillment of all our highest divinity, highest fulfillment of highest spiritualism.
Can one say as well that there is no highest and there is no lowest, and God is just God? It just
True.
is.
I'm saying it in a relative sense.
Okay.
Because our language, our ways of expression, our lingual ways of expression has got some limitations and relativity, relative characters. We cannot express anything, we cannot properly explain anything on this plane of duality, on this limited plane without being relative, without accepting any relative way. Okay, so all the ways, each and every way of our expression is that of relative character. We cannot fully express about absolutely. Okay, at the same time, we can have some idea towards. So these explanations give us some idea towards that realization. Infinite world. Yes. So it's true. From the absolute sense, again you see, I have to say from sense. It's not a sense. It's not a stand. I have to say somehow in absolute way, from the absolute stand, from the absolute position. But it's not a position. It's not a stand. It is what it is. Holistic stand. I mean, it's not a stand, not a way. It's a holistic something, holistic stand, holistic way. So, to understand in that sense.
Thank you. The word holistic or absolute or truth, it is just as one word.
So,
and as we cannot say all words all at the same time.
Yeah. Ultimately there is no
silence.
Ultimately there is no highest or lowest or this and
God
that from the absolute stand. It's true. From the absolute world there is no highest or lowest. Okay, or this side, that side. It is what it is. Supreme He or Supreme She is what He is. What Supreme He is, Supreme She is. It's not a limit. It's not an idea or concept of a limited personality as we conceive, materially conceive, he or she. That's why I'm saying it is what it is. It is how it is. Supreme He is Supreme He as how is He. Supreme She is Supreme She as how is she. And ultimately there is no also gender difference. In the absolute reality, it is Supreme He, Supreme She, Supreme neutral, equilibrium, neutral truth up with the concept of the equilibrium, conception of equilibrium reality, all together at the same time. But on this limited plane of duality, on this mundane plane of limitations, we cannot express anything absolutely absolute way. We can explain things in a relatively absolute way, not absolutely absolute way.
Okay, so it's hot, the first pasta hot, and also this is from yesterday.
Good.
You can have pasta and this, and I have some little chocolate. It'll be good.
So those who want to have breakfast can have. I will take lunch. I'm not going to take breakfast.
Okay.
So what is the next question?
The next is on page 24. Let's see here. What did you have to say?
So in the same context, see, let me continue a little while. In the same context of that, there is no highest or lowest. Agree? See, it has been explained in Upanishads. The high class holy, again I say high class, because there are some ordinary scriptures, medium quality scripture and highest quality scriptures. There, because hierarchy is conceiving about the truth through hierarchy also necessary on this mundane plane. Good, better, best, there. Concept of worst there on this mundane plane, reality. So, supreme, the ultimate, supreme, almighty, divine, the ultimately supreme, almighty, absolute, divine has been described, or personality of the supreme, almighty, absolute, divine has been described to be manifesting as Anoraniyan. He manifests as smaller than the smallest, most fundamental reality, as smaller than the smallest, Anoraniyan. Mahoto Mahiyan, bigger than the biggest, both at the same time. Try to understand what it is. The supreme, absolute, divine, most wonderful, the most wonderful, infinitely wonderful, manifest himself, herself, itself as smaller than the smallest, in subatomic level. What scientists have not been able to reach that point. They could only reach to the level of quantum physics, quantum mechanisms, not below that. But the supreme divine, supreme Lord can also manifest as smaller than the smallest, subatomic level, to the infinite. To the infinite. Smaller than the smallest means, like in mathematics, in mathematical term, at some point you cannot calculate anymore. You have to say to the infinite. Whether to calculate the smallest unit or biggest unit, to the infinite. Okay? So, that's what the Supreme is. Smaller. He manifests, the Supreme Divine, Supreme Infinite Divine manifests as smaller than the smallest. Appears to be self-contradictory statement, expressing how it can be smaller than the smallest. But that's the way to explain about the wonderful reality. There's no other way to explain. So we have to explain about the reality in an exceptional manner, as smaller than the smallest, bigger than the biggest, higher than the highest, deeper than the deepest. Anuraniyan Mahato Mahiyan, quoting from the Holy Scriptures, from the realization of great yogis, rishis, munis. Okay, next question. Or would you like to save it for the next time? Next question. There will be more Harikatha, there will be more spiritual discussion. So now it's the time for taking breakfast.
Yeah, great.